Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. Let me introduce a player I don't get to feature nearly often enough, but always makes for the most exciting and dramatic game. It's right in the name. Let me introduce Creator from Korea. Always a little bit outside the meta, but ready to blink right in. It's going to be tough, though, against literally the most difficult opponent in StarCraft 2 history. The man, the machine, the finisher. It's Serral, the #1 player in StarCraft 2, and in my opinion, the greatest of all time. So, a bit of a tough opponent, I will say, for Creator here on Altitude. Best of 3 PvZ. If you want to see Creator with his continued underdog story take it home, or Serral rip him apart, make sure to like, subscribe. Jimmy, if we get 1,057 likes, yes, that important, exciting, put it on your resume metric of how important I am on the internet, well, then I'll cast another series. Gotta collect them all. And I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I make your day a little bit better. I won't lie. I think Serral is a heavy favorite here. Then again, there's a very small list of people that would not fall into that category. And they're mostly Zergs on a good day. Though it does appear on that front, Serral has reinforced his matchups as well. So, we'll see what Creator does. I don't think you can just play a standard game against Serral. I think that is a losing battle from the very, very start. So far, though, it does look to be the cookie-cutter triple Oracle opener from Creator. Serral, of course, defining the standard macro. And the definition this game is 3 bases. A few dozen drones, going up towards 50 upon seeing the Stargate. And plenty of queens. Creator not opting for any sort of crazy Twilight play, trying to catch him off guard. This is your standard for Protoss. The real question will be how he follows it up. Will just be Moracles, do the Twilight Forge. Occasionally we see some attempts at a Robo, but the Twilight Forge is probably the most common. Oracle's still sharking around looking for an opportunity. Not really finding anything, as the queens are well distributed to box out the Oracles, and Serral getting a 4th hatchery even before the 5-minute mark. Poking and prodding with a Zergling, trying to keep track of what's at home. It is going to be a Robo out of Creator. So a bit of extra spice here. Definitely not expecting that. Where is that Robo? It's at the natural. Could just be a flat gateway attack with the Warp Prism in tow, but so far, well, Creator's at 55 probes. He has not been shying away from probe production, and that will actually allow him to get the economic lead, at least for a little while, and compete with Serral on relatively even footing. Between the Oracles and the Adepts, there's just no real hope of Zerglings getting too much done on either side of the map. They will have to be defensive for now. So Creator, with this many Adepts, I think, has created a scenario, if you would, where Serral just has to sit back and maybe, I mean, he's baited out so many Zerglings that Serral has to poke out, but if he commits to any attack, the Oracles will just melt the Zerglings before they can get anything meaningful done. So it is going to have to be Roaches, and maybe behind that. You know, there are a lot of different flavors. Serral has also been on the Ravager Bane Pain train, which allows you to deal with the vast majority of gateway-based activities. Creator? Well, that is certainly not the ideal usage of 2 Oracles. He gets 6 drones, but both Oracles are knocked down. I'm not trying to min-max it there and trending towards min as opposed to max. We'll leave that to the packs, but you don't really want to... It's not... No, there is an amount of drones that it's worth losing those Oracles for, and I think it has to be solidly double digits. Like, if you get 15 drones, I can see trading 2 Oracles. 6 drones? No, that was a waste. Attempts to drop in some non-charge lots so far. Creator, oh my. Serral does the German taxi build. Schneller, please. Hello, hello. Well, the queens are in the Overlord. All right. Just coming across the map, Serral with a bunch. It's the Creeper Lords here. Going to be dropping creep as well. But the one Dropper Lord is picked out by the Phoenix. Please, sir, respectfully, heck off. Meanwhile, Serral breaking through the front lines here. This is quite a disrespectful build. Creator has had plenty of time to set up defenses. The queens aren't here to provide any extra anti-air support. So, but there's only that one Oracle. I don't know how much of this is because the Oracles were lost. I think this was going to happen either way. Just makes it a little easier for the queens to break through. Now that another Oracle taken down. Immortals and Stalkers from the north side here. A whole lot of shield batteries to deal with it. The queens, they might have been dropped out, but now they've been abandoned. Oh no, and here come the not-so-charged lots. The Zealots just dropping out. Transfuse on the last spot of creep here. And Serral doesn't seem like he has the numbers to break through. The supply is there, but roaches are some of the least cost-effective units, or supply-effective units, rather. So the supply might be a bit misleading, though a lack of blink or charge is making it a little harder for... Oh, he was trying to spread creep and hit the C button, which of course is also the corrosive bile hotkey, creating some minor issues there. The Immortal juggling. Still one queen, bravely, well, obliged to stay on the creep. Oh my, Serral's not done. 6 more dropper. Serral will keep up the pressure here. I mean, he's taking no economic damage at home. He's at 67 drones, but he's nearly maxed out. His Roach Ravager is very easy to find yourself there. Creator still has to worry about maintaining... Oh, the Contaminate! Contaminates the +2. Honestly, very underutilized ability. Hard to guarantee its success, but if you already have the Overseer, why not? Force Field's isolating some of the roaches, but is he ready for the drop in the vein? Oh, forces the recall point blank, but Serral already dropping creep. He's gonna be right on top. All these sentries getting taken out. There aren't that many Stalkers. Serral could just lift and get out, which is kind of a weird scenario here. Trying to minimize the damage, but he picks up the roaches into the Overlords. All right, he is a bit supply blocked as he lost a lot of OBs in this process. Where is the Warp Prism? Corrosive Biles and roaches themselves able to take out several more of the Immortals at the front. How many are left over? 2 of them. 3 of them. Double robo production. Creator is holding on. Serral is testing the waters on every side and finding it. Honestly, the main base was the most success he's had thus far. Blasting his way through the shield batteries. Immortals being juggled back. Only 1 cannon remains in terms of static defense. Creator still has the production and the economy. He's got 8 gates. He's got double robo, but he's about to have one last Twilight Council as the roaches are trying to take it out moments before charge completes, and he gets it. Charge is... And no charge lots makes it that much harder to take out these groups of roaches. No blank, no charge, has to rebuild the Twilight. That's going to delay the +3 attack even further as Serral's incessant, inexorable roach attack continues. And just as I say it, though, is when finally he backs off. He's got the reverse creep here from the earlier strikes. Brenda, what have you been... Oh, she, strong independent queen who doesn't need no Dropper Lord, has been hanging out, adding more and more creep, making it easier for Serral to maneuver around even Stan's Dropper Lord. But Creator's supply has been inching upwards. He's been constantly pumping out Immortals. He's got 5 of them now. There's not too much of a harder counter to the roaches, except for things like Void Rays, juggling a few more of the Immortals to chase down the army. The lack of charge is incredibly apparent on those very slow Zealots. But the Immortals are the real damage dealers. There's a Greater Spire on the way. Serral's just casually gotten a hive behind this, though he still doesn't have that much of an economy. Oh, losing a lot of roaches. There were some roaches behind the 4th base mineral line. But overall, Creator has held. He holds against the roaches in the main, and the natural, and the third, and the fourth. Serral was everywhere, really embodying the roach name. But Creator halts. He rebuilds the Twilight in exactly the same spot, which usually isn't too vulnerable a location. But right now, he's not out of the woods yet. That Greater Spire, Serral somehow managed. Well, he managed by not building any more roaches. He hasn't really refilled too much since that last attack was thrown back, and that's why Serral is only now getting closer to maxing out. Oh, Blanca on the way, +3 for Creator. There are even Phoenixes on the field. I think he was expecting potentially a Muta switch. Did he see the Spire? Oh, he saw the Greater Spire. I'm not actually sure when he managed to get that information, but it is incredibly relevant, as right now the ground army is very vulnerable to Broodlords. Phoenixes are not going to be enough to stop this many broods. Honestly, Phoenixes barely tickle the broods, and there's plenty of queens underneath to help gun them down. So Creator trying to put as much pressure on as possible before Serral is able to build up the critical mass of Broodlords that will just melt the army underneath, flinging the Broodlings down, messing up the AI of the units as they try to attack, and doing damage when they land as well. Creator, though, realizes with the broods on the field and Serral replenishing his supply, it's begrudgingly, it feels, he's got to go Sky Toss, as you simply cannot compete with the late-game Broodlord army on the ground. It just becomes far too treacherous for the Blinkstalkers. He doesn't have Storm. Archons are laughable in the face of that many Broodlords. They're good cover for carriers, but honestly... Oh, and here come the queens again. Susan, we march! Yet again! As the queens, for the second time this game, will come across the map. Blink is just now finishing. Those Twilight upgrades were so delayed. Tempest on the way, the direct counter to the Broodlords, designed to deal with those massive air units. Will they be in time, though? As Creator, in this hectic game, has managed to hold on, but he's got to go a little... +2 queens take out the Phoenixes quite quickly. Oh, Broodlords get one, or Stalkers get one of the broods. Queen saved the other. +3 ground weapon, still trying to juggle. Loses one of the Immortals. The battle continues on 2 fronts, but Serral, the Swarm, is threatening. Serral bent a little on the other side, but he was far from breaking. He hasn't really had that much economy throughout this, but he's been efficient enough. Creator has lost marginally more minerals and gas, but a Protoss losing more than a Zerg is just not a great sign in general. Blinkstalkers trying to chase down. They find a queen, but the Zerglings in turn. Adrenal glands on the way as Serral, realizing the Zerglings may still play a significant part of this map. Roach Ravager. Small potatoes compared to the broods. But now Serral's filling in the rest. He's got muscular augments for Hydralisk, Lurker Den. But Creator has 107 army supply. And, well, there's a lot of supply for Serral as well, make no mistake. But the Broodlords are not the most sturdy creatures. If exposed, can easily be taken down by the Tempest and the Blinkstalkers. Of course, Serral knows that, which is why he backed off as Creator was starting to solidify his position again. He actually killed the base. Serral just... Even though he's not making a lot of headway with these attacks, it just feels like Creator has no breathing room. And I don't even know if Protoss breathe. They don't have mount. I think they have, like... They're not important. If anyone knows the biology of Protoss and how to essentially vivisect them, it is Serral. The Abathur of Zerg. No mercy. No emotions. Just evolution. Infestors. Pathogen glands. Flyer Carapace, and now attack. More melee attack and Adrenal Glands. The Roach Ravager still roaming around. And Creator's half-hearted attempt at replenishing the third will be completely erased. Every building, every shield battery, any unit that attempts it, Serral has removed it. But Creator is about as close to maxing out as I think he's ever going to get. as he's even a little supply block, potentially 196. But I've never seen 200 supply look so weak as I have against Serral. And not just this match, just in general. Yeah. Creator trying to match the Roach Ravager packs with Void Ray Blinkstalker. What am I watching? Why are there 4 Immortals? That's not... You can't send those out on their own! He's even got an Observer with this to help clear the creep. He's trying to match Serral in these kind of mercenary group style attacks. But when you divide your Protoss army, and oh my god, there are even probes in there. The fungal Archons getting chased. This is so... Oh god. Serral just hunts down as they retreat, fungals them in the back, and rains down the broodlings. The Immortals trying to micro out of the way. The Void Ray's a bit distracted by the hatchery. Serral doesn't need this base right now. Creator needs to have these. He can't just give away these units. The Archons helping with the Corruptors, but the Corruptors dodge away, taking out the Void Rays. Void Ray's doing enough. As Creator kind of coagulating his army together here. What he has of it. What a chaotic game. But it still feels like Serral is in the driver's seat. He's never quite running it off a cliff. Creator just trying to keep up. And he's done a great job of not losing. But, well, here the Broodlords are already in position to defend the 4th base. He may get the hatchery, but at what cost? Targets it down. That adds just more broodlings to the field. Storms. But Fungal already chases down the carriers. Down goes 1. Only 1 more to go. Not enough energy. Maybe a feedback. Not gonna happen. Merges into Archons. Creator's supply is plummeting, and so are his chances of taking game 1. Serral just overwhelms and eclipses Creator. Oh, well. That was rough. A very entertaining game. It feels like Serral just throwing a bunch of things at Creator to see what sticks. Though with quite a lot of direction to it, I'll give him that. I can't remember the last time I saw a Roach drop to such an extent against Protoss, let alone a Roach drop that actually worked. And then he gets out. A dark-like strategy, but with the Serral twist of incredible macro. And that means Serral, a comfortable, okay, not very comfortable, but a pretty decisive victory in game 1, nonetheless. All right. The 16 hatch. Okay, so we actually, Jimmy, why would you skip past the first few seconds? What do you mean people don't usually watch the first few seconds? And that's why we started skipping to later in the... Yes, you might have... Whatever. Anyway, so this is... Zerg players are sick and tired of getting their hatcheries blocked. So a lot of Zerg players have been doing the extractor trick, like 16 supply into quicker hatchery before second Overlord, in order to get the hatchery out like 5-10 seconds quicker. I don't know the exact number, but usually in time that you get the hatch started before the probe gets there, which is kind of a huge deal. That kind of changes, like, so much of the early game in Zerg versus Protoss is reliant upon preventing that. It just makes it so much easier for the Zerg. Even in this case, even if they sacrifice a couple drones, maybe a little bit of economy, getting that hatchery is just peace of mind. Having the creep to move the queens around. They do not like moving around off creep. Having less space to defend against adepts. There's a reason why so much of Protoss versus Zerg has been the probes, essentially blocking the hatchery and forcing the 3rd base. But apparently, and now I haven't cast any of his games, but I think a lot of players are crediting Eric, the Zerg player who might not be at that bleeding edge level, but has a lot of creative builds, as we've seen. I gotta cast some of his games and see where all this is coming from. But the even at this advanced state of the StarCraft 2 meta, people coming up with like, what if we just took our hatcheries quicker? Which, if somebody in Twitch chat or YouTube comments or me would have said it, it would have been laughed off. But here we are, with Serral using the early hatchery build to avoid the probe blocks, to avoid all those shenanigans, and essentially invalidate the early game annoyance of having your hatchery blocked, and throw off almost all Protoss builds because of it. Well, alright, Creator, gonna try something a little different. I don't blame him, giving the Glaive Adepts a shot here. Mixing it up a bit as the standard macro. He was hanging with it, to Creator's credit. There's a very small amount of Protoss who'd make it even that far, but you don't get any points for surviving for a while before you die. All that matters. And now here's the most stressful part of StarCraft 2, I think, for most people, from Bronze to Grandmaster. It doesn't matter if you just spent 2 minutes or 200. All that matters is a win or a loss. That's the best and worst part. You don't get participation awards. You don't get a bonus for winning a 3-hour game. No. 1 win, 1 loss. How many series, for better or worse, have we seen where a player fights out and barely wins a 45-minute slugfest and then gets like bunker rush twice in a row and loses the series? It is not a rare situation. It is not uncommon. It is the beauty and the horror that is StarCraft 2. And also why it's kind of hard to schedule tournaments, because each game could be anywhere between 5 and 50 minutes. So there's an average. The average game is right around 10 minutes or so at the pro level. Maybe a little less than that, like 9 to 10. But it is almost impossible to predict before the series starts, let alone if there's even 3 games or 2. Though we do our best to make that. Oh my. Serral made a mistake, though he rectified the mistake before it could be too dramatic. He blocked his potential wall off with a creep tumor, and then he killed the creep tumor with roaches, so that way he could build an evo chamber there for this exact reason. And now this is part of why blocking the natural, I don't think it would have made the difference at this stage, but you're pretty much guaranteed to have the creep out. You're pretty much guaranteed to be able to block off your natural if you're able to take it as your second base. Now, most players would make an effort to make sure that's fine, even if they didn't take it, but this is the equivalent of making that shield better. He's just fighting the roaches. Okay, wait a second. He's just fighting the roaches. He's just winning. The Adepts do pretty respectable damage on their own. Serral just like, well, you're not going to fight my roaches, because roaches counter Adepts. Creator's like, it's a numbers game. And right now, the numbers, they don't add up for Serral. He doesn't have enough roaches. He's just losing the fight. He's joining up with everything. Adept shades are going every which way right now. And Serral is struggling to consolidate his fort. He's starting to lose some drones here. The Adepts in the main. I'm observing the match, and I'm getting confused. Okay, there's more Adepts? Okay, Serral's on 16 drones. Where aren't there Adepts? Might be easier to narrow down. Now, he's starting to get a sizable amount of roaches. Creator's been focusing more and more on drone kills. Which, okay, so 22 Adepts have been lost to 12 roaches, but with also 17 drones. So there's still enough roaches on the field to very much threaten Creator on the other side of the map, who's just now trying for a third base. This was quite a heavy pressure here. 6-gate Adept. But, well, Serral comes across and asserts himself with enough roaches to force the cancel. Oh my god, I could terminate! Oh. I love it. And on Immortals, that's actually a huge deal here. Having 2 or 3 Immortals is much better than just 1, obviously, and Creator going to be delayed. Serral will absorb the hits at the end of the day. and bounce back with, oh my, Serral's Overlord usage in the, it's a weird thing to say, all right? Like nobody really thinks. So you guys want to, just an aside here. Carbot. Why? Did you know you can drop creep on your Overlord plushie? Yeah. I mean... Easter egg? I don't... Are you jealous? I don't know, actually. I don't know if that's something to be jealous of. That's a little... But, and you can, well, if you notice, you can actually, it's a lore accurate plushie. You can attach the gun. If you have the Marine plushie, you can also attach the gun because it has the little, so the Overlord can get the gun, like in the anime. All right, so... I'm sorry. Where were we? Roach burrow move. I love you, Carbot. Whoa, force fields. But then the burrow. But he has an observer, so. Wait, right? Yeah, the observer's right over here. Couldn't be taken out in time. Beautiful force fields. He locks them in. The roaches didn't have burrow move quite in time and couldn't escape. And Creator turning things around. Oh, some pretty crazy, but he's stuck on the bridges himself. They go both ways. No Zergling speed, but the Zerglings are getting in the way of things. Pretty crazy moves, Creator. Making plays here, but no Shakespeare quite yet, especially with the roaches on the other side. Serral, there's nothing here. There's no cannon, there's no shield better, there's no units. It's just the probes on their own. So Creator gonna try to fight through. Blink Stalkers battling it out. And the Roach Ravager starting to thin, but so is the Stalker count. 2 Immortals adding a lot of damage into the fray, but look, on the other side, the Roaches got through. 17 probes down. Terrible, terrible damage being dealt. And GG. Serral able to hold on despite the great efforts of Creator, making big plays, but not able to take the series. Oh, and that means Serral will win 2-0. Not an unexpected result, but Creator putting up a great fight. Such a great fight that I think it's worth going into our bonus game. Creator versus Raynor. I noticed that we had that opportunity as well, and I thought it might be good to get a comparison, because Serral's Serral. Raynor also, and on the same map. But our anti-spoiler bonus game here, and I wasn't sure if Creator would put up a great fight against Serral, but I think Creator versus Raynor is a bit more of an even match as well, both in rankings and in general. So, jumping in without further ado. And hopefully you guys have been enjoying. I had a ton of positive feedback. So here's, if you guys are going to talk about the bonus game in the comments, because I know a lot of people, myself included, will go to the comments after hitting the like button to get 1,057 or more. We'll go to the comments. Instead of calling it a bonus game, just call it the final game. Okay? That's what we'll call it. Or make it so it's a read more spoiler. Just so, now, it might not affect you today, but some series down the line, when you're like, oh, I shouldn't have read the comments, I spoiled myself. Maybe just help out a little bit, just final game. And do like a few spaces and then spoilers if you want to talk. I know I don't respond as much as I should, or I want to the comments. Honestly, you guys, so supportive. And also have a lot of good questions that I do want to answer, and then it's kind of like email, not to insult anyone, but it's kind of like email where it's like, okay, I'll respond to that in a bit, or tomorrow. And then, of course, no, you don't. But just know that at least it's here, and I feel bad. And I'll try. And I'll probably fail, but I'll try. But I think final game is the best way to avoid the semi-spoilers of just saying bonus game, which kind of gives away the whole thing. Creator against Raynor trying the Stargate, though. He did manage to block the Natchery with the probe. And Stargate, well, I mean, again, the first game against Serral trying the Stargate as well. And honestly, losing those 2 oracles really changed everything, in my opinion. If he hadn't lost those 2 oracles for a very mediocre amount of drones, then we could have been looking at a very different game with a lot more momentum. Going Creator's way, who was just, it felt like always just a couple units away from being able to turn the table. But against the top tier, well, the best player in the world, it's almost inevitable you're going to have a couple less units than it feels like you need. Serral has these, honestly, I was about to say intangibles. Like, he has this, he's just so good at everything. But it's very tangible. It's the most tangible player I've ever seen. The speed and the efficiency of the injects, the kind of surgical use of spellcasters. It's very clear. He's just hitting all the little details. And Zerg, by and large, has the highest amount of, I don't want to call it housekeeping APM, but that's essentially what it is. Zerg has to have the highest APM, just the most actions required outside of microing your units or producing them. Between creep spread, overlord spread, inject, and just larva management, it's a couple hundred APM before you get to do anything else, really. And Serral has mastered it. Raynor is right on that level, but definitely he kind of throws games a little into chaos. His multitasking is arguably better than Serral, but a lot of the time he does get stuck on unit compositions that are maybe, or goes further down a certain kind of tech path than would be necessarily ideal, trying to make it work. And sometimes he does. But that is the difference between the two, I feel. Serral is almost painfully middle of the road with his armies, whereas Raynor just freestyles a bit. More like a Beyond to a Maru, to compare with Terran. Where Raynor would be the Beyond and obviously Serral the Maru. Well, behind how many oracles? The triple oracle, of course. We have the Adept push with a Robo first, before any Twilight or Forge, so I believe those are going to be coming up next. Adept's trying to shade in. There's a Forge. Overlord speed. Is Raynor... So I know Raynor and Serral practice a lot. They trade... You know, for two players who historically have been each other's greatest opponent, I guess they're both teamed up against the Protoss and the Terran, so... This is looking very, very similar to Serral's response to this almost exact build. He's getting Overlord speed. He's building a lot of roaches. There's no Dropper Lord yet, but it's looking very much like the German taxi build right now. And there it is. Now we get Raynor's take on it. The Twilight's on the way. 3 shield batteries. Creator bolstering his defenses. I will say, I believe this match was played actually before, in a tournament before the Serral games. I'm not 100%, but just for reference here. Here comes Raynor with those bulbous Dropper Lords. Extra spec. Can you actually see him inside? No, you can't. That'd be kind of crazy and also very uncomfortable. I could see the queens just like pushed up against the edge. Well, the oracles, 3 oracles still intact. So we're going to get a great comparison here. Already the oracles are burning through the queens. A little bit late to the party, but we've arrived! Ah! The queen drops coming through. Shield batteries and cannons fully intact. Force field's good. A few Raptors. to knock him down, but the Queen's already in an awkward scenario. Creator has a lot ready for defense. The Oracle's rebuilding energy. Cannon on the high ground. Raynor not able to make much progress. Could have been an exploratory force field there. Creator sitting with 66 probes to just 54 drones. Shield battery overcharge. Raynor does need to make something happen here. He needs to break somewhere, as it's going to be very hard to go back and macro it out if Creator holds too strongly. Down goes one Oracle. Shield battery overcharge is exhausted. And the shield batteries themselves still with energy for now, but starting to run through it. How many gateways? Only 4. A single robo. 2 more gates are about to finish. Some of the units getting caught on the ramp. Where's the warp prism? No warp prism at the moment. Dodges the corrosive bile. Loses 1 immortal. And Raynor starting to really break through now. The Ravagers are chewing through the shield batteries and zoning out the army. Oracle count down to 1. Creep spread at the front door. Creator holding on both fronts, but Raynor starting to make some serious progress. Creator actually has a 4th Nexus on the way. He's getting a Templar Archives, and charge is about to complete. He's looking quite confident for someone who is one good set of corrosive biles away from losing either of his bases. But here, Raynor continuing across the map. Double immortal. There's not that many Zerglings here to absorb the damage. The Immortals are able to find good targets for the most part. One more force field just kind of desperately thrown out. But Raynor's attack is petering out here. It's been whittled down. Now the charge lots are here, warping in a couple more Templar for Archons. Already one in front. There should be a shield battery overcharge ready. But here comes Creator. The Immortal count so damn high. The Queen's caught in front. The Ravager is being broken down. And Creator holds the line. The Oracle softening it up to start, and the static defense. Raynor just doesn't have the production to break through. The Immortals. The probe transfer under fire. He's already got the 4th Nexus. Creator. And it is one of the most micro-intensive situations that the German taxi build there. It is, well, that was quite a concave out of Creator. But I do think the difference being just, one, he got charged on. I don't believe there were any contaminates. There's an attempt at a queen drop in the main. But the details weren't quite there for Raynor to break through. And now Creator has a supply lead against a Zerg. He almost... he kind of continued macroing despite everything, which I'm not sure if that was a conscious decision or just like a reflex. Oh no, the queen drop. Run out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! No! Oh no! No! Oh no! Only one survivor. Awkward story to tell. I've seen some things. I've seen too much. Oh, transfuse. This is looking dicey. Oh, that is a beefy Protoss army. That is a lot of damage coming through. The Immortal count is so damn high. The Immortal, like, the Archons as well. Charge done. Creator showing what it's supposed to look like here. As Raynor just not able to break through. So Creator, a bit of a redemption game there. I wasn't sure how it went. But I'm glad we got to see another example. Creator able to take out Raynor in that match. But hopefully you enjoyed the final game as well. Added on a bit of compare and contrast. Creator taking that one. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. 1057 likes. Cast another series. I'm taking recommendations. Might not act on them, but taking them. So thank you for watching. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.